if we take a snapshot of 10 or 15 years ago, the normal or the common way of doing projects, the procurement model I'm talking here, is design, bid, build. So usually projects are developed by clients, and clients will bid, and then contractor will come on board and deliver the project. Since 5 years, the region started to see some changes, where design build came into the picture, and then we started seeing a lot of design and build. However, also the region is going into more of privatization. So the biggest change is happening, for example, in KSA, where privatization body, as a government body, has been established to start working with healthcare, education, other entities to produce PPP projects. We, as a company, we delivered one big project for education. Where we worked as part of the SPV the consortium to deliver 60 projects in the kingdom, and this is only a startup, and I think more privatization is coming and more PPPs we will see in the future in the region. Dubai, for example, they have already established a law for PPPs. Oman is the same thing. Kuwait, I think, also the same. UAE and KSA are on the way. But I mean, we'll see some mega projects going into this, not only small projects. I think, Joe, you mentioned a very good aspect of fairness in the risk sharing. If you look at the best models in the world that consider risk sharing and fairness, which is the Canadian model of sharing risk using the PPPs, and then the Australian model after that. So this is now being looked at by the whole world to follow, to be honest, and the region here are making a lot of use of and benefit of those models to try to be as fair as possible, because the contractor is not the bad, should not be the bad player in the game, but the contractor should not also bear all the risks, and the risk will be divided in a fair way, where everybody will have a win-win situation where all can collaborate because they co-create this SPP together. I think the construction industry is lacking behind in terms of advancement with technology. We always talk about technology, and we saw in the previous also sessions, and yesterday we were talking about using technology within construction. And when we talk about this, the ultimate thinking of that is going into using BIM as a tool. But if we look at also at BIM, we see BIM is not a new thing. It's been there for the past 20 years maybe. And still the ecosystem within the construction industry is not totally aligned to use BIM, as we will go on the discussion later today. But what we think, and it should happen in the future, maybe in the next 10 years, let's look at other industries, how things are working and how money is generated from that. Take Uber, for example, take Airbnb, others, where people usually, to compete with each other, they have been transformed into collaborate with each other. So if the construction industry in the future will be, all the stakeholders will work within a platform that make everyone collaborate instead of compete, I think that will make a real transformation in the construction industry. Personally, as a company, we were discussing such approaches with one of big clients in KSA, but we discovered that, okay, the concept is nice, but the understanding is not there. So if I borrow a notion from, and a concept from Gartner's, and also it's there in the literature, there was something they call it digital dexterity. The digital dexterity is about if you have an ambition toward digitalization and if you have the capability. Most of the time, we as companies, we have the ambition toward digitalization, but we don't have fully the capability. So that's where, if we have partial capability, we go to optimizing some of the processes. So for example, we automate delivery of projects. But if we go into totally a digital transformation, that's where we need to set up the right backbone, platforms, everything. The ecosystem should work as a whole to create such an opportunity. But I think this is needed in the future. Again, I'll talk about the technology part. So, I'll provide two examples. One of them is looking from the same page. So if all project stakeholders are looking at the design from the BIM model that is developed by the consultant, moved to the contractor, and there are full digitization, as Dr. Sabih said. Now we have the iPad. If every engineer on site will look at the BIM model on his iPad and do all the comments and will send them back to the designer, then we will eliminate a lot of let's say discrepancies happening, that we're looking at a design but the consultant has a different version, and so on. So if we do this, and this is simple, this is something that can be done. Technology is there and many people are using, but it's not like an integrated solution. So this is one example that can increase efficiency. The other one is using drones for site inspection instead of using site inspectors. So this will first save on labor, a lot of labor, and the other thing is will save on health and safety. So if we have incidents when people go into inspection into sites. So we have drones and we can use these technologies to inspect and give us reports. This means that we will reduce time, increase accuracy because the amount of error will be minimal, and also we will save on incidents. So this will increase efficiency in different dimensions. I've been in the same situation many times where we have, like in hotels or in hospitals. The best way is to engage the operator right at the concept design. Get the operator requirements right at the beginning, and then in this case, this is a proactive approach, of course, and this is the best way to do it. Sometimes it's difficult because if the client will not engage the operator right at the beginning, then we're obliged to do some changes. However, if the operator is not engaged, the design needs to be made as generic as possible with some core and shell, allowing for generic, let us say, generic operator requirements, and then do the changes as minimal as required when the operator comes on board. Example you mentioned, Waqas, is we were doing a PMC work for the Expo 2020, and we've been also for 4 years now. We've been doing a PMC for the Minister of Finance for it's a big scale PMC. Let's say for the Minister of Finance, the KSA is almost like 300 to 400 billion Saudi riyals. So what we usually look at PMC, we look at a burden, as Dr. Sabih said, that the money the client will spend and just a waste of. But it can be turned into a real collaboration opportunity. If the PMC are working with the client hand in hand and working with other stakeholders hand in hand, and they use the technology to facilitate things, not to make obstacles, I think we can succeed, like the example that you mentioned in the Expo. But this is what is required, and this is hopefully that all PMC engagements can happen like this. I don't want to say that we're perfect. No, we have a lot of drawbacks here and there, but there is one focus that needs to be kept in mind when doing a PMC is what is the objective of the role, and what is the client objective that we want to attend to. So if we keep this in mind, I think we can achieve.
Ahmed, can I add a small thing?
Please.
What is the authority that's given to the PMC? Because if you're given the role but not given the authority, then we as contractors suffer from waiting on a decision.
That's true.
That's what causes all of us not to have a good project. So that governance part is very important.
I would like to add a part on the technology, which is maybe not related to the question, but it's in general. There is a challenge on working with technology in the construction industry from the client side sometimes, from the contractor. But if I look now at KSA, look at Red Sea, for example, or NEOM, they imposing the use of BIM from all stakeholders. They don't accept any submission from a consultant or a client until it's in BIM. They also, Red Sea, require a consultant to be engaged, and there must be a BIM manager for each and every project. To be honest, I find it a very organized way. They're very advanced. They set the procedure. So it's very clear to any consultant, any client, or even they run it through their PMC. So this is where the new term of digital PMC came into the picture, or they call it digital leadership within PMC. And for me, it's been very effective from the client side.